Good morning, everyone. We'll begin in just a few minutes. We're expecting a few more people to join.
Good morning, everyone. We'll give it one more minute, maybe before we get started. Thirty more seconds, and then we'll start. All right. Why don't we get started? Uh, as you all saw, this is being recorded. My name is Howard Libet. I'm executive director of the Baltimore Jewish Council. With me from the council today are Sarah Mickey and Abby Snyder, who are uh, uh, key people in our legislative operation in Annapolis. We're here today to talk about this opportunity that we have for our collective communities to create a transportation pilot program for non-public students in this fiscal year, this upcoming school year. Our main goal today, after running through a brief part of the a very brief summary of description of the program, is to be available for your questions. If questions have come up, if you have, wondering about something, we're here to answer. And of course, after, if other questions come up, send an email to the email address. We will answer emails within 2 business days. And for those questions that are broader, like not super specific to your individual goal, but that might be helpful to others, we're going to create a rolling document of questions and answers up through the grant application period. Before we get started, I want to acknowledge that a number of different entities in the state were super helpful at getting this passed through the legislature. The Catholic Conference, Agudath Israel, and Teach Maryland. And I wanted to give Mickey Rubin from Teach Maryland a brief opportunity just to speak a little bit for a minute or two about that process of getting it in to the budget and what it means. Mickey, you want to take a second?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much, Howard. I really appreciate it. So, Howard, thank you so much. I want to thank the BJC, the Associated, for all their work in administering the program. We obviously couldn't have done it without all of our great partners there. Teach Maryland is excited about the prospect of the program. We've worked really, really hard to advocate for this in Annapolis, and this pilot has a tremendous amount of upside and possibility, and obviously want to make sure it goes off smoothly. And we're hoping that eventually we can scale it to other counties in the state. As well, we want to acknowledge Rabbi Sadwin with Agudath Israel and Garrett O'Day with the Catholic Conference for their partnership in advocating for the program. And as always, thanking Senator Dalia Tar for her leadership in our community and being a champion for us in the state legislature. And if anyone needs any assistance with the application, we're obviously happy to walk you through that process as well. So thanks so much, Howard.
Great, thank you. Thank you for your support and your advocacy on this. To very briefly, the Maryland Department of Transit, the state budget designated the Associated Jewish Federation of Baltimore to get $250,000 this year to distribute as grants in some fashion for a pilot project for non-public school transportation. And we've moved fast on it because we know we wanted to start. We want to start it with the start of the school year. The grant agreement was signed a week and a half ago, and that very day we put out this notice of funding availability so we could move fast. We've been in conversation with the Department of Transportation so that what we have crafted comes from with their guidance as to their understanding of the legislative, both the language in the budget as well as the intent of the legislators. And in addition to Senator Attar and others supported it, there's a sense of the goal is to not just help in terms of relieving the burden on parents to get their kids to school, but also to take cars off the road and reduce the environmental impact. We've all either been there or seen it of idling cars waiting for school pickup day after day. And if we can reduce some of that, we reduce some of those emissions to our environment, we reduce some of the mileage on the roads. If we can make the case that we've done that we can, there's a case beyond just helping public schools, but helping our environment to help expand a program like this. I've been as guilty as anybody of sitting out there the last few years waiting to pick up my daughter after school. To briefly, key dates, the application period's open. Today's the informational webinar. Applications are due Wednesday, August 6th, the end of the day. And we hope to make this grant announcement decisions by the 20th of August. Any nonprofit is eligible, whether it's a school, a consortium of schools, another institution, to apply. Transportation, a big restriction is it must involve schools located in Baltimore County or students living in Baltimore County who might be taken to a school in another neighboring jurisdiction. So the focus is on Baltimore County. That's just the way that the legislators structured it. Originally, there had been a structure of Baltimore County, Montgomery County. The Montgomery piece fell away when they weren't able to move forward on it. So we have a Baltimore County focus. We've tried to minimize the paperwork for everyone applying. So we set a maximum of 1,500 words. We don't want a 45-page application. None of you want to try and create a 45-page application, and listed the amounts, the key questions to answer, as well as our school scoring rubric. The $250,000, what we're saying is a maximum grant of 125, but it could be broken up into smaller amounts too, depending on the applications we get. This, I don't think any of us fully know until you price it out what it would cost to run a van or a small bus or whatever for a full year. So I recognize even 125,000 might not necessarily cover a full year. So this might be you offering a subsidized program where it might be a teacher, students are paying 25% of the families are paying 25% of the cost, and the money is covering 75% or something like that. There's a level of creativity here, I realize, because the dollars are fixed. It's not like the public schools where it's, well, we pay whatever we're paying because that's the cost of the bus. This is the amount of money you have to work with. And if your application, if you can structure a way where, like, yes, we would like to get 125, but if we got 50, here's what we could offer as part of it. It could be a multi-tiered approach that you're applying for if that's the best fit. please talk about like how many families you think you're impacting in terms of cars off the road. If you can speak even to the distance they're driving in terms of the reduced impact there, that's a good thing to have in the application, as well as any, equity considerations. And in that, we're thinking about specifically the idea of, whether it's a school or families that are eligible for boost or have other economic needs that would be impacted. Those are important characteristics, I think, in terms of us presenting this back to the legislature, because the goal is to have a mid-year report from the winning applicants as to the impacts by December 31st, so that when we go talk to the legislature in the 2026 session, which runs January to April, we have some data to tell them why they should renew this or why they should expand this. So we want a mid-year report and then, of course, an end-year report. We would be paying out quarterly. So at the end of each quarter, you provide, receipts of money spent, and we would reimburse, and then we'll get reimbursement from the Department of Transportation for money we put forward. The associate's gonna float the money. I'm not sure the finance people fully understand what they signed on that piece, but they're gonna float the money. I hope they're from their good cash flow. Department of Transportation promises us pretty quick turnaround. You've seen the site where we have the application posted. We will post a video of this to that site by hopefully Monday or Tuesday. And we will also, again, post answers to questions there. Sarah or Abby, am I missing key things?
No, I think you're good. Maybe
Happy to
go a
take-
little bit into scoring.
Sure, go into scoring a little bit.
Sure. So we created a rubric, and as you guys see on the NOFA, and things like equity are important. So those who are eligible to participate in Boost, or who have the ability to impact multiple schools and regions within the county, have an additional or have a 5-point advantage, I guess you would say, like over the base. Making sure that you have a feasibility to the approach, so that the spending will actually help more students than currently are being bused. Environmental impact. So when Howard's talking about the bus groups, how many kids are not being picked up by their parents and driven in their cars, and then having the stalling outside waiting for the school drop-off line. Dollar spent per student. So how much is the bang for your buck there? And yeah, I mean, that's basically it. I think we can, if you guys have any specific questions. I saw that in the chat. Is it being recorded? Yes, this is being recorded. So if you guys have any questions, please.
Yeah,
feel free.
at this point, I want to open it up to whatever questions people have.
Great. I just wanted to say thanks to you guys, because I've been in Benoist for a lot of years. I don't think it will specifically benefit us right now, and we shouldn't want to take the money because we're located in the city. It should be focused on the farther away schools, but I know how long it's taken to come to today, and I just want to say thanks. That's why I joined.
Thank you. I'm really hopeful that long term we can
Right.
expand this out and really make the case that.
And
mean,
that's
know
what I
a
told
number-
my board.
Yeah.
I said, maybe my grandchildren, but good work.
A number of other states provide much more expansive transportation to their non-public schools. I mean, I remember, for those of you who may remember, Baltimore County School Superintendent Dallas Dance from a number of years ago, sitting down with Delegate Dana Stein, and I sat down with him and talked about it, and we're like, look, what if we got the county school buses to add a 4th shift that the
Right.
schools would reimburse them for, just to provide that transportation to the schools. And they were, I mean, I'll acknowledge they have a real problem with school bus drivers. Every year you see them in late August desperately advertising for more school bus drivers. So there's a challenge there with finding the personnel to do it. But wouldn't that make sense to make the county and city county buses available to provide that transportation, even if the schools helped cover the cost of an extra shift?
Right. And I think the bigger lesson here is we don't need to give up just because people say no. You know how many times I heard this is never, ever, ever going to happen? And you start small and you build on it. And I'm a big believer in that. So again, thanks. And I'm going to watch it evolve. I think it's great.
Thanks. Thank you, Ahuva. I appreciate that. Other questions?
In your grant review, hi, my name is Alex Brolsky. I'm from Our Lady of Mount Carmel School, in Essex. How important is like longitudinal data in terms of like what your bus program has looked like in previous years, or are you guys just really looking at what you did last year, what you're planning for this upcoming year?
That's not a question I thought about. That's a good question. I think one or 2 years is probably plenty. I mean, if there's some like routes some route you'd be able to restore that you used to have a couple of years ago or something like that, please share that. I mean, yeah, we're happy to see as much info as you can fit into 1,500 words.
Yeah, where we struggle,
charts don't count as words.
yeah, that's a good point. Where we struggle is getting to that kind of break-even point of the number of kids we need to fill a route where it
Sure,
makes
right.
is cost effective. And just the cost of bus drive, well, paying bus drivers a competitive salary so that we can get them is certainly an element.
Right, you want them to show up every morning, not just the mornings where they feel like it.
Yeah.
Right. If you made a case for like we have these 3 routes that we can afford 70% of it, and if you could if this could fill in the gap of that extra 30% to help it break even, that's a compelling case. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, just remember it's for supplementing, not supplanting
Okay.
funds.
Yeah. Other questions? Great. I've never written a NOFA before, so I guess this one answered most of the questions. If you all have questions, feel free to send emails to our email address. I know the email address is working. We already got our first application in yesterday. So we will respond as quickly as we can. We will download the video of this to our YouTube channel and then post the link to it. Hopefully by Monday. Thank you, everybody. And have a wonderful Friday and a good weekend.
Yes.
And a good Shabbos for those of you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.